Welcome to completing the 2016 application form for Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 Youth, presented by the British Council. In this video, I will explain where to find the application form, completing the relevant sections of the application form, and submitting the form. Just to recap on the upcoming deadline for 2016, the round 1 deadline is the 2nd of February 2016. Applications must be submitted online by 11 AM UK time. Please go to the Youth Mobility Funding section of the Erasmus Plus website. You can download the application form. This can be found on the right-hand side of the web page. So now I will go through the application form step by step. And when completing the application form, we recommend that you also have the 2016 Programme Guide and the 2016 Guide for Applicants. Both documents can be downloaded from the Erasmus Plus website. So you will need to download this eForm and save it as a PDF to your computer. You will need Adobe Reader version 10 or above. You can work offline to complete the form, but you will need to be connected to the internet to submit the application. Some fields will populate automatically from earlier sections of the application or with information that you registered on the participant portal. In some sections, you will be required to select the appropriate or most relevant option from a drop-down menu. You can also use the plus and minus symbols to add or remove rows. And there are some character limits in some sections, so please check. So it's important when you start to make sure that you have the correct application form. Please double check, as applications submitted on the wrong form will be ineligible. So we start off with section A. This is general information, which gives a general overview of the content of the application form. We then move on to section B, context, and this gives an overview of the key action and the activity types covered by this form. So please make sure that you have the key action, learning mobility of individuals. The action is mobility of learners and staff, and the action type is youth mobility. The call will be 2016. And if you are applying for the first deadline, it will be round 1. You can also see there the deadline is the 2nd of February 2016. That is 12 o'clock Brussels time. So that will translate to 11 AM UK time. So please make sure you have submitted your application before that time. We advise well ahead of that final time. You should also then use the language as you're submitting to the UK National Agency. please choose English from the drop-down menu. We then move on to B1, Project Identification. So here, please choose a project title for the project that is different to the organization name. You can also choose the project acronym, and then you need to choose a project start date. So the project start date should be the earliest date when you're looking to start the activities. And for the round 1 2016, the earliest start date will be the 1st of May 2016. So that is the earliest date that you can choose. We recommend allowing enough time from the earliest project start date to when you need to actually start your project. We recommend maybe allowing, say, from the 1st of May, maybe a month or 6 weeks, just to enable enough time for the UK National Agency to make the relevant checks and to enable enough time for payment. So the earliest start date is the 1st of May, but we would advise maybe choosing a date a bit later. So for this example, I'm going to choose the 1st of June 2016. For the project duration, a youth mobility project can last between 3 and 24 months. So the overall project duration will need to encompass all project-related activities, from promotion and recruitment, all the way through to evaluation and dissemination. So it's important to consider a realistic project duration so that you can complete the activities to a high standard. In this example, I'm going to choose 12 months for the project. You can then see that the project end date has been calculated automatically. So the project cannot be any longer than 24 months. Section B2 there is for the national agency. You will be applying to the UK, and if you can choose UK 01 from the drop-down box. Section C is concerned with the participating organisations. So C1 will be the applicant that is applying for the funding, and the applicant will be in charge of applying for the whole mobility project. So you will be in charge of signing and managing the grant agreement, the final reporting, and also the other participating organisations within the project. So here you will need to add your PIC number. So you will need to obtain a unique participation identification code. This is done before you apply, and you will then enter that special number into the PIC box and press check PIC. Once you press check PIC, all the organisation details are automatically added to this form. So it's crucial that you get the special number for your organisation before you complete this application. I'm just going to enter a dummy number for you just to show you what happens. So there you can see I've entered the PIC number for the demo organization, and the address details are automatically added to the form. So please be aware that not only the applicant will need a PIC number, all the partners involved in the project will also need a PIC number. So some organizations will already have this from previous projects. New partners will also need to obtain a PIC number. You then would move on to profile, and this section of the form will also be pre-filled. You can see that the information is already being added. If you do experience problems with this stage, then please check your organization's registration in the participant portal. And I need to just draw your attention to this question at the bottom. Is your organization a public body at regional, national level, an association of regions, etc.? Now, this is quite a crucial question in the form, because if you, in most cases, for youth organizations, they will choose no. But if you choose yes, then it does affect the amount of organizational support. So if you choose no, you will be entitled to the full amount. But in the case of yes, then organizational support is reduced. So please take care when answering yes or no, because that will affect the budget later on. So for this example, I will just choose no. C.1.2 then is accreditation. So if you are going to apply for European Voluntary Service, you will need to be accredited before the deadline. So you should allow a minimum of 6 weeks for the EVS accreditation process, details of which can be found on our website, and the partners involved as well, they will also need to have EVS accreditation. You then got C.1.3, background and experience. So this will inform the assessment of your organization's capacity to manage the project and the proposed grant successfully. So number one, please briefly present your organization. Please include the aims of your organization, its history, its location, and how the activities that you propose in this application fit into other programs or activities that you deliver. You should also include details of the young people that your organization typically works with in terms of geographic location and any additional needs that they might have. So you might, for example, enter the proportion of young people with disabilities, from families in receipt of benefits, or those with English as a second language, if you feel the information is relevant. The next question, what are the activities and experience of your organization? Please detail how your organization's previous experience of delivering projects in the field of youth and how the activities or other work has built the skills and knowledge needed for the activities that you now propose in the application. Please detail if it is a project format that you have delivered before. Next, please give information on the key staff involved in the application. So please give details of the number of administrative and delivery staff involved in the project, and also their competencies or relevant experience. And then, have you applied or received a grant from an EU programme in the last 12 months? This is a yes/no answer. If you do select yes from the drop-down, you then get additional space to add the details of any previous grants. We then move on to legal representative. Please list details of the legal representative who is authorised to sign the application and enter the person who is authorised to enter into a legally binding commitment on behalf of the organisation. If your application is successful, this person will also be the signatory for the grant agreement and the person who takes on the terms and conditions attached to the grant. So you must complete every field in this section. If the appropriate contact address for the legal person is different from the main contact address for the organisation, then you can tick the box here, and then you can add the new address details underneath. Please note it is important that the legal representative details are consistent through the application form and in the Declaration of Honour, which is a page at the back of the application form that the legal person will need to sign. So please make sure this is consistent. Then C.1.5 is contact person, so please provide details of the main contact person for your organisation who will be responsible for managing the project. So please, we would recommend that you choose a legal person and a contact person, so two different people that we can contact. Sometimes the legal person may sign the legal documents, but then the contact person will be directly involved in the project. So it's better if we have two different channels that we can contact. You also have the option to add an additional contact person as well. So please press on the button, add contact person, and you can add an additional person just underneath. Then C.2 is partner organisation. So all youth exchanges, European Voluntary Service and youth worker projects must include a minimum of one partner or more from programme countries to be considered eligible. Please note, if you do not add a partner organisation at this stage, you will not be able to amend this. So please make sure you add all details of all the partners, and they will need to have registered PIC numbers. So you can add more than one partner here, and any organisation really that will be directly involved in the project. Each partner will need to sign a partner mandate. The partner mandate is in the youth mobility section of the Erasmus Plus website. And then C.2.1 profile of the partner. Again, this will be automatically added when the PIC number is entered. C.2.2 is again related to European Voluntary Service. If you are intending to take part in EVS, then all the partners will need to have EVS accreditation. And similar to when you explain the applicant organisation, you will also need to give the background and experience for each of the partner organisation. You will then need to add the legal and contact person details for each partner. So to add another partner, please press Add Partner, and you will then have additional space. Section D is description of the project. So please bear in mind for these narrative sections there is a maximum character limit of 5,000. So question 1, why do you want to carry out this project? So all projects should propose to address a need for the young people, community or organisation. Please outline how this need and the objectives were established, i.e. through research, planning meetings, and where possible, youth exchanges and EVS projects should demonstrate how the young people are actively involved in shaping the project proposed. The objectives of the project should clearly seek to address the needs you establish and be relevant to the individual participants and organisation. The second part, how did you choose your project partners? Strong partnership is crucial to the successful delivery of an Erasmus Plus project. So please detail how the partnership was formed and their contribution in terms of the skills and experience that the partners have that is relevant to the project. And also how the project links to the needs and objectives of each partner. Question 3, what are the most relevant topics addressed by your project? So here you have various topics which you can address, and you can choose up to 3. So if I choose environment and climate change, you then press the plus icon and you can choose 2 more. If your project is to address more than 3 topics, then please choose the most relevant. Section E then is participants profile. So this section you will need to describe who your participants are and provide details of their background and learning needs. And this will vary depending on the activity that you apply for. So please look at the specific guidance for the activity that you are looking to apply for. So from page 75 in the 2016 programme guide, there are specific criteria for each activity. The first part, please describe for each planned activity the background and needs of the participants involved. So please describe here the participants' actual or likely age ranges, gender, ethnicity, or other selected information. Please detail any process for selecting participants from all partner groups that has taken place or will take place, and how this selects the most suitable participants whilst ensuring a fair process. Then also, please provide for each planned activity general information on the age of participants and how you will ensure a gender balance. So again, please describe the age ranges, the genders, and how you're going to ensure that there is a fair gender balance throughout the project. E1 then is participants with fewer opportunities. Does your project involve participants facing situations that make their participation in the activities more difficult? If the answer is yes, please select yes from the drop-down, and then you can list the types of situations that participants are facing. So if I choose economic obstacles, you can also press the plus to add additional fields here. Section E2 then is learning outcomes. In this section, you will need to outline the competencies that participants will acquire through participation in the project. Please identify the competencies that specific activities and methods will develop. There should be a clear link between the aims of your project, the activity, and the learning outcomes. And Erasmus Plus does promote the use of European tools and certificates, and the main certificate associated with Key Action 1 Youth is Youth Pass. Which you could then talk about in this section. Okay, moving on to section F is preparation. In this section, you should explain how practical and logistical arrangements will be addressed. And there you can see in the first question, it's around several kind of main areas, including travel, accommodation, insurance, the safety and protection of participants, etc. So please detail how and when you plan to deliver these practical aspects, and which partner or individuals will take responsibility. Please see pages 269 to 273 in the 2016 Programme Guide for more information. For EVS applications, you should also look at the EVS Charter, which can be found within our Guide for Applicants, and it can also be found in the EVS Accreditation application form. So you can also outline the risks that you identify in the project in relation to tasks, participants, and location, as well as how you plan to mitigate these risks to ensure safety. You should also include any agreement on emergency procedures and a code of behaviour for participants. Note any plans for obtaining suitable insurance, managing any additional visa requirements, or legal aspects. We do expect that you will comply with UK legislation and consider the relevant national legislation in the country of each partner. If you do have any further concerns about the practical aspect of this, then please contact us. Moving on to F2, we've got project management. So here, explain how you will address quality. Please describe the process that you have established for agreeing roles and responsibilities with partners in order to ensure quality learning outcomes, as well as good administration and delivery of the project. You should describe the process for establishing suitable methods and agreeing and monitoring learning outcomes for participants. So really ensure how you detail how you intend to facilitate their active involvement and also evaluation to ensure relevant and quality outcomes. In addition, for EVS, there is the volunteering agreement that is signed by the volunteer prior to departure with the sending and receiving organisation. This agreement defines the tasks that he or she will carry out during the EVS placement, and they will also receive an EVS info kit, which contains information about what to expect from EVS and how they can also obtain Youth Pass at the end. Such a document remains an internal document between the partners and volunteers. F3 then is preparation of participants. You will be responsible for ensuring your participants are fully prepared for their placement abroad. So please outline the training plan for participants as deemed necessary for the success of the project. So the plan should detail what training will be provided, when and by whom. It should pay attention to not only task-based training, but provide adequate support for intercultural and linguistic learning expected. So you can also include in this section information about language and cultural preparation and risk prevention. We then move on to section G, the main activities. So please explain the context and objectives of the activities you are planning. So please make sure that you link this with the project description in section D. What are the basic elements of the main activities you plan to organise? So for all activities, you should provide a timetable which can be uploaded and attached to this form. For each youth exchange, the timetable should detail the programme for each day. For each European voluntary service, the timetable annexed should provide a sample of 1 week's activity plan. And for youth worker mobility, the timetable should provide a sample of either a week's activity or programme overview if you're planning an activity over a longer period of time. So in addition to the timetable, you should note how you've decided on the programme, noting how you've ensured your methods and activity are relevant to your objectives and how they fit in with your learning outcomes. All activities will need to demonstrate compliance with the principles and provisions described in the Erasmus Plus programme guide. This can be found again from page 269 to 273. And this includes information about informal and non-formal methods to generate learning. So please make sure that you have a look at that and the focus on non-formal methods. If applicable, how do you intend to cooperate and communicate with your project partners? So please outline the methods by which you will ensure regular communication with your partners and describe how you plan to work together. Good partnership is crucial, so you should present a clear set of roles and responsibilities for all involved in the activity delivery, the project management and administration. If there is a need for any additional support, like accompanying persons, then please specify details here. Accompanying persons may only be included where necessary to enable a participant with special needs to attend. So please explain why the accompanying person is required. So then we come to filling in the details about your activities. So this is section G1. So as I described previously, there are three main activities. You have a youth exchange. The minimum number of participants is 16, and the maximum is 60, excluding group leaders. Each national group must have a minimum of 4 participants per group. And if you apply for a youth exchange, you can also apply for an advanced planning visit. The second activity is European Voluntary Service. There is a maximum of 30 volunteers for the whole project, and you can also apply for an advanced planning visit. The third activity is Youth Worker Mobility, which is job shadowing or networking for youth workers, and this can be up to 50 participants, including trainers and facilitators. So in the example here, in the drop-down list, you can see that it's split between partner countries and program countries. So partner countries are those outside of the EU, and program countries are the EU member states and also some extras in addition. For this example, I will choose Youth Exchange Program countries. So the activity is A1, and I've done Youth Exchange Program countries. If you wanted to include an advanced planning visit, you could choose that first. So you could choose Advanced Planning Visit Youth Exchange. But I'm just going to show the main activity as an example. So the group, this is to separate each organization that is traveling to an event. So maybe there will be 4 countries, and you might have 4 different organizations, or you might have 2 organizations from the same country that are going to an event. So it's to separate each organization. So here I would suggest writing the name of each organization. So the country of origin, I'm going to say that this organization is from the UK. And then the country of destination is automatically filled by the organizations that you add in the form. So it will only give you the selection from the partners that you have input into the application form. So the demo organization I entered earlier is based in Belgium, so I select Belgium. So the the city of the venue will be Brussels, and the distance calculator will be used to find the distance. So this is the distance calculator page. Details of the link are in the guide for applicants. You will need to use this when calculating the distance from the sending organisation to the venue where the activity will take place. So for this, I will use from London to Brussels. Then you press calculate. And you can see there that it has calculated a direct distance from London to Brussels. Now, please note that the distance band that you use, the amount that is provided is for a return journey. So please make sure that you choose the correct distance band. So the distance was 320 kilometers, so I select the distance band 100 to 499 kilometers. I'll then choose a start date for the activity. So the project start date is the 1st of June. So I will choose an activity date. The start date will be the 11th of June. And it will run until the 18th of June. So you can see there it's automatically calculated 8 days. You can then enter the number of travel days. The maximum will be 2 days, so usually one either side of the activity. And it will calculate the total number of days. So the number of participants, we will have 20 participants. Participants with special needs, 0. Participants with fewer opportunities, I will also put 0, and accompanying persons, 0. Accompanying persons is to assist participants with special needs. And then I will put 4 group leaders. So please make sure that you choose the correct activity type. Youth exchange program countries will be countries mainly in the EU with a few exceptions. And then if you choose partner countries, youth exchange partner countries, that will be with, that will also enable countries from outside of the EU as well. But please note that 25% of the total Key Action 1 youth budget goes towards projects with partner countries. So please make sure that you enter the correct activity details because funding will not be increased if approved. So please make sure, if you're unsure about completing any of this part of the application form, please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to have a look and help you out there. G.1.1 then gives a summary of the activities and the participants. So a lot of the information that you input into the activity section will automatically be pulled through. There you can see that we have one activity with 20 participants. Section H then is about the follow-up, and H1 is impact. So the application is assessed against relevant exclusion and selection criteria, and details of this can be found in the youth section in the programme guide. Assessors will look at the application form in its totality. So applicants must score at least 60 points. But if there are a high number of applications, it may raise the pass threshold. So the first question, what is the expected impact on the participants, the organisations and the target groups? So please list the expected outcomes for participants resulting from their planned learning and active involvement and participation in the project, such as knowledge, skills, and changes in attitude or behaviour. In addition, you may plan these outcomes. They may have a further impact on their employment status, ability to access further education, well-being, or lifestyle. And for participating organisations, please detail how the activity might generate organisational learning or specific skills for their staff as well. The second bit then, what is the desired impact of the project at local, regional, national, and even European or international level? So please consider if the project will develop the participating organisations' understanding of an issue, youth work, or train them in any new methodology that they can implement in their local community. So how will it raise the profile of an issue or an organisation locally, nationally, and internationally? So please highlight all these different levels. And also highlight if an activity that you plan to use will involve the wider community so that they can benefit as well. H2, the dissemination of project results. Dissemination should be considered throughout the project. You should ensure that dissemination activities are focused, relevant, and well described, and that the target audiences are clearly identified. Dissemination activity may be in the form of local meetings, workshops, discussions with members of a wider community. You may also use handouts, reports, evaluations, or even video to assist. You might plan to get press coverage or invite local councillors or decision makers to dissemination events. And there's more information in the programme guide about dissemination from page 297. And it is also important with youth staff worker mobility that each individual is able to cascade information across the formal and informal networks, and that dissemination does take place across all organisations involved in the project. H3 then, evaluation. Which activities will you carry out in order to assess whether your project has reached its objectives? You are expected to include a final evaluation of the project in which you will be able to assess whether the project has been a success. And we really encourage evaluation before and during the activity, as well as the final evaluation. Do consider how to involve your receiving partners, placement providers, and participants in the evaluation of your project and its outcomes. We then move on to section I, which is the budget. The Erasmus Plus grant is regarded as a contribution to the project costs, and it may not always cover the total cost of the project. You are able to apply under Key Action 1 Youth for the following budget headings: travel, organisational support, special needs support, exceptional costs, and for EVS projects only that are over 2 months, individual support and online linguistic support for major European languages and linguistic support grant for other languages. Please note, if you do miscalculate your budget and request less than you initially thought or that you are entitled to, you will only receive the amount requested in the application. So when completing the budget section of the eForm, it's important to note that automatic calculations will only take place when you have validated the form. So at the bottom of each page on the form, there is a validate button in the bottom right-hand corner. So please check your application form as you go along. When you press validate, any error messages will come up and just tell you that maybe something is missing or you need to change and go back. So I'll just go back up to I1, which is travel. So the travel calculates each participant's return journey from the sending organisation to the location of the activity. So the travel is calculated on a unit cost basis, and travel distances must be calculated using the distance calculator. You can see there from the example, it's selected United Kingdom is the country of origin. The activity will take place in Belgium, and the distance band used is 100 to 499 kilometers, which has then awarded a travel grant per participant of €80. So there's a full list of the travel amounts and all the cost amounts, in fact, in the program guide and the guide for applicants. I2 is for individual support. This is only applicable to EVS applications. So individual support is calculated on a unit cost, and this will depend on the country of destination. And this is used as pocket money for the volunteers during their stay. I3 then is organisational support. This is calculated on a unit cost basis and is linked to the implementation of mobility activities. So for when you need to run the activities and for the preparation, an allocated amount is given to each participant in the application form, and then the organisation can use this to support and run the activities that it is planning. I4 is special needs support. And this is only applicable if you plan to involve participants with special needs. This part of the grant is based on actual costs, so you will need to provide clear and detailed justification for the amount that you are going to request for special needs support. If the request is not considered reasonable or is not justified appropriately, it may be reduced on assessment. I5 then is for exceptional costs. These again are based on an actual cost basis, and they are quite specific. There is a full list of the exceptional cost criteria in the guide for applicants. Some examples will be visa costs, costs for accommodation if you have advanced planning visits. Advanced planning visits can be a maximum of 2 days, and you can apply for accommodation under exceptional costs. But please check for specific criteria for this section. The last thing to note as well, for EVS applications, I will just try and add that for you now. So if I choose to create an EVS activity, I will choose European Voluntary Service Programme Countries. It then asks, is this a long-term activity? So long-term is from 2 months to 12 months. Short-term is from 2 weeks to 2 months. So if I select yes, and I go back down to the budget section, if you are going to run a long-term EVS project, so from 2 to 12 months, the participants are also eligible for online linguistic support. And the assessment is compulsory, so if you have 5 volunteers that will be coming to the UK, you will want to select 5, and you can see that online linguistic assessment is compulsory for EVS participants using any of the following languages. So if they were going to be learning English, then you have 5 volunteers, you need to select 5, which will then give them 5 assessment licenses, and they can complete this online. Once they have completed the assessment to see what level of English they currently have, they can then complete the course. So you will also need to make sure that they have 5 language course licenses. So first they complete the assessment, they establish a level, then secondly they complete the language course. If, for example, if the volunteers are going to be learning a language that is not covered in Group 1, so if it is a language other than German, English, Spanish, French, Italian or Dutch, and they will need language course support, then you can apply for funding, which is €150 per participant. However, the majority of participants will do the online linguistic support, and there won't be a cost associated with this. They will go through the online portal. But for more information, please check the guide for applicants or get in touch with us and we can explain that further. So just moving on now to Section J, the project summary. Please provide a well-written, comprehensive summary of the project. And it's important to be concise and clear and mention the background of the project, the objectives, the number and profile of participants, description of activities, and the methodology used to carry out the project. Once you've entered all the participant details, you can see the summary of all those involved under section J1. J2 will then give you the full budget summary, so please check this very carefully as J.2.1 will give you the total project grant. So this will be the final amount, so please triple check that your calculations are correct, as this cannot be amended once it is submitted. Section K gives a checklist. Please make sure that you have attached all the relevant documents, you have filled in all the correct fields, and that you are then ready to submit the application form. Section L is the data protection notice, so please read this in advance of signing the Declaration of Honour. Section M then is the Declaration of Honour. This must be signed by the legal person, so you will need to print this and then signed, scan and attach to the online application. So please make sure the legal representative fills in all these details and that this form is attached. And all the forms can be attached in section N, annexes. So you will need to make sure you have attached the Declaration of Honour signed by the legal person, the mandates for each partner, which is signed by the applicant and the partner, and the activity timetable. So it should allow you to add all those documents here. Please let us know if you have any problems with attaching these, or sometimes the sizes may be too big. So please get in touch with us and we can help you with that. So section O is submission. Please make sure that you validate the form and that you have completed all sections. Please read the data protection notice. Then please sign and attach the Declaration of Honour and the additional documents. Then you can submit the application online. So please press submit online. You will need to be connected to the internet to make sure. So please make sure that you've saved a copy of this form, maybe that you have all the narrative sections saved somewhere else as well, just in case, and that you submit well ahead of the deadline. The first deadline for round 1 next year is the 2nd of February 2016. It does get very busy around the deadline period, so please get in touch with us well advanced if you need some assistance when completing some of the sections. Section 03 there is the alternative submission procedure. This will only be valid if applicants are unable to submit their application online due to a technical error. So these technical errors are quite specific. We do have some details in the guide for applicants again, but please just try to submit well ahead of the deadline. Applicants cannot make any changes to the grant application after the deadline, so please make sure it's the finalized version. So that's an overview of the 2016 application form. Please get in touch with us if you do have any further queries regarding completing this. The assessment of the application is carried out in 2 stages. There'll be formal eligibility checks undertaken by the national agency, and then a qualitative assessment undertaken by external experts. The application is assessed on the following: relevance of the project, quality of the project design and implementation, and also impact and dissemination. So it's important to note any application scoring less than half the available points in any one of these 3 quality criteria will not be considered suitable for funding. There are the details for the 2015 programme guide, but please refer to the 2016 guide for the specific award criteria. Further information, all the specific criteria information can be found from page 75 to 88 of the 2016 programme guide. This gives details of each activity, the award criteria and the funding rules. There's also further information from pages 269 to 273, which gives some information on practical aspects of applying, conditions for EVS volunteers, and also information on impact and dissemination can be found from page 297. Here are our contact details. You can contact us Monday to Friday through the following telephone number and also the email address erasmusplus.inquiries@britishcouncil.org. Thank you for watching the video. Please follow some of the links in the description at the bottom of this video, and good luck with your applications. Thank you.